Um, and so just so I know, I'll be sharing the presentation myself. I'll share my screen.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you everybody for being here today. As Anne introduced me, I am Zahra Alami. I'm one of the case managers with the CSEP program. And I will go ahead and start sharing my presentation here. As she mentioned, I am one of two case managers. So we are a small grant funded program referred to in short as CSEP. Um, I'll go ahead and share now. Alrighty. And can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Thank you. So we actually fall under employment and training programs and services, which is through the Department of Family Services. And what our program, CSEP, Senior Community Service Employment Program, is one of many programs or services that are provided via the county, via the Department of Family Services, and even smaller Department of the Employment and Training Programs and Services, which I'll be talking about today. So first and foremost, I'm going to start off with the Virginia Career Work Centers. So the Virginia Career Work Centers provide a few different services, and there are a few different office locations that you guys can access. And you don't have to be a participant of said program, whether it's WIOA, CSEP, VIEW, or Bridges that I'll go into. You guys have access to these centers to be able to do the following that I'll discuss. And there are offices located in Annandale, which is primarily where I am located, or our CSEP project is located for the Northern Virginia offices or counties. There is one in Alexandria off of Richmond Highway. There is one in Reston as well. And something that's not on here that I would like to note for anybody who is on the call that maybe lives in Prince William County by chance, in the Woodbridge area, there is actually also one. It's a separate entity from these three Northern Virginia ones, but is also Virginia Career Work Center off of Minnieville in Woodbridge, Virginia, just so you guys know. And what the VCW, so they're referred to as VCW for short, what they provide are a variety of walk-in services, in-person and or virtual appointments. So you're able to walk in and there are several staff there who are going to be able to help you with either one-on-one job coaching. And if you don't actually need assistance, but you just need to use a computer to access the internet to do job search, to submit an application, to maybe do a Zoom interview to access that internet, you are able to go into these centers and utilize the computers for those purposes, as well as copying, printing, and scanning. Now, if you just need to go, you walk in and, they'll just take count. And if there's something that they can help you with, they'll definitely provide you with further assistance. If you're just needing to use the computer, they'll direct you. And if you have any questions about copying or scanning or printing or needing assistance, they'll help you with that. If they are available, they definitely will provide any assistance with either resume, editing, building if you don't have a resume, as well as other job coaching. Let's say, for example, you've been in HR for 10, 15, 20 years, however long, whatever field that you're in, but you're wanting to do a change, you're wanting to go into a different field. Or maybe you are here, you came back in 21, 22, or recently into this country and you don't have any job experience yet. So maybe understanding what are your applicable skills, your applicable experience, education that you can apply to positions here, what it is that you need to look into to be doing. So they offer that one-to-one job coaching assistance for all those variety of services. And they will help you in person if they have the time, and if they are pretty packed up, that's when that in-person and or virtual appointment comes into play. So you can make appointments at any of those office locations. And something that I'll go into as well is View. They're located in Fairfax, but that's also another center that you guys can utilize, but it's not deemed as the Virginia Career Work Center. And as I mentioned again, so they assist with resume review, job search, interview preparation as well. So if you're wanting to do a mock interview, they actually are able to assist with that, whether it's a one-on-one interview or actually setting up a panel interview with clients, they're able to do that as well. They are able to do assessments, access to employers. They come up with a lot of um, those job leads, the job fairs, recruitment events, and pass that information along to us, other programs, and they have that information available in the centers for you guys to access as well. And those center staff, what they do is they connect you guys and you guys are coming into those centers. Let's say you don't have the information that's being provided today, for example, and you walk into one of the centers. Well, all this information is also available in brochures in those centers, as well as they're able to sit down and maybe provide you a little bit more information, maybe do an assessment or put you in direction or in contact with the case manager to one of these prospective programs that you can get more information about or apply to. And those programs, as I mentioned, would be WIOA that I'm going to go into, and they have adult and youth programs. Our program, which is the CSEP program, and our program is for those who are 55 and older, the SNAP-ET program, VIEW programs, and other active grant programs. So one that I just mentioned that is similar to ours being the CSEP program is WIOA. WIOA or WIOA stands for Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And what that offers is different services to eligible job seekers. So there are different programs within WIOA. So you have the adult WIOA or WIOA program, and you have the youth program. And to be qualified for one of these programs, you must be eligible to work in the US. And so for the adult program, as you guys see here, it's highlighted that you must be 18 and plus, unemployed or underemployed. If you're a dislocated worker, so if you're 18 or older and laid off from employment. For the youth program, that would be those who are aged 17 to 24 who are out of school and with a barrier to employment. So if an applicant or client asks about employment or training assistance, you guys can actually go to the website and visit vcwnorthern.com/WIOA, WIOA /, or you may contact them via email to get somebody directly in connection with you so you guys can set up maybe a time and a date to talk and get those further questions answered. But essentially, it helps eligible job seekers receive the following listed. And what that is they're a grant funded program, and really they emphasize training and helping assist with getting you into whether it's CDL training, administrative assistant training, maybe a phlebotomist training, and help cover the cost of that while you guys are in that program. And they really want to help you guys in succeeding in getting that job that you need. So if there is a barrier as far as a certification, because a lot of times, it's having those skills or having those certifications to go in that specific field that you want, right? And having those funds to complete that, because it can be expensive. So that's what this program is known to do. It's a really awesome program. They help cover and they also do more than just that, right? So they do individual career counseling. So they start off, it's a bit of a process. So you apply and you get your own case manager, and they help counsel you. So they do assessments, that occupational skills training and supportive services. There's paid on the job training and work experience opportunities. And what they really do is that case manager meets with you just to make sure they check in with you, see how the classes is going, but also get you in connection with any job opportunities or placement assistance. So following up with you, also doing that resume building, putting you in connection with possible opportunities when you're close to the end of, completing that certification. And not only that is they also follow up with you, and this also applies to our program as well, CSEP, is that we follow up with you and WIOA follows up with you. Now for CSEP, we do follow up with you guys for up to a year because, and is probably the same for WIOA, is because we want that retention. So not only are we focusing on assisting you getting the job, but of course we want you to keep the job. So what are some things that we can address if there's barriers? What barriers are our participants facing, that we can help support them in getting them connection with other resources. So that is about WIOA or WIOA a little bit. And you guys are, again, more than welcome to visit their website directly, contact them via email, and or go into one of the centers, as I mentioned, to get more information or get connected with a caseworker. Next, I'm going to be talking about VIEW, which stands for the Virginia Initiative for Education and Work. And the VIEW Center is located, as I mentioned, in Fairfax. It is the building next to the government center, the main government center building, which is referred to as the Panino building. And TANF recipients can access employment and training services through VIEW. So if you are a TANF recipient, this is you have services available through TANF, which is assistance and resources to find and keep a job. So VIEW case managers focus on each individual's situation and works with participants to support their employment. So they focus on the participants' strengths and provide services to help them overcome job-related challenges, as well as personal, medical, and family challenges that affect employment. So they also offer individualized career coaching, training assistance, job placement assistance, and other supportive services, actually. So, childcare assistance is a big thing for a lot of people, right? Where is my child going to be, or the cost? Because my gosh, childcare cost has significantly increased. So that is definitely a major barrier, as well as a very major barrier that we overcome or see is the transportation assistance. So something that I do want to mention while I'm on this call, something you guys can take away or look into, is the transportation program through the county. It's referred to as the TOPS program. So that's just a side note for anybody as well, because transportation is a huge barrier that I do see as a case manager as well. So they do the transportation assistance, childcare assistance, and then access to the Bridges to Success program. And for more information on that, the supervisor for this program is Miss Stacy Lambert, and she has her email right here stated, stacy.lambert@fairfaxcounty.gov. If you guys would like to look into this further to receive assistance, again, this is another center that you're able to go in and receive that one-on-one assistance with the career coaching, building your resume, editing your resume, training assistance, and job placement assistance. All right, so that leads into the Bridges to Success program, which ties into the last one, is the VIEW, as I just mentioned. So TANF recipients can access Bridges through VIEW. And Bridges to Success offers employment and well-being assistance to those struggling to overcome obstacles hindering them from finding or keeping a job. So participants meet with professionals, job coaches, therapists, life coaches, for example, and receive recommendations on how to overcome the challenges that you're facing. Again, whether that's transportation, childcare assistance, financial, medical, addressing those challenges and maybe putting you in connection to those resources that might ease those barriers or overcome those barriers. And based on those recommendations and with the support of the Bridges to Success team, participants are able to customize their experience and access the supportive services necessary to move towards a successful future. So as you see, the goal for all of these programs is to move our participants towards a successful future, overcoming those barriers and addressing. We know that you guys are wanting to obtain a job, but we also realize that, we're all human and other things come up, right? Everyday life things, whether it's financial, medical, personal. So participants receive help in identifying what is in the way of their employment dreams and creating an action plan to move closer to their career goals, connecting with professionals trained in job readiness, finding and maintaining stable employment, and developing a network of supporters who are invested in their success. And if you want more information about Bridges to Success specifically through the VIEW program, you can also contact them via email listed below, which is ddfsss Bridges team@fairfaxcounty.gov. I know that's a pretty lengthy email. Sorry, guys. Alrighty. And the next program that I will talk about through employment and training is SNAP ENT, which is Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, Employment and Training. So SNAP recipients, SNAP is also referred to as a food stamp program, and so it's a supplemental nutrition assistance program. And SNAP recipients can access employment and training services through SNAP EET. And what SNAP EET offers is employment and training assistance to those wanting to find a job. So participants meet with a workforce development specialist and receive career coaching to develop professional goals. Eligible job seekers can receive individualized career coaching, training assistance, supportive services, transportation assistance, childcare assistance, placement assistance. So again, as you see, the ongoing mission and goal of employment and training is to address those barriers, create a plan of action. Us with the CSEP program as well, we create that individualized plan. We call it an individual employment plan, and we create that initially and then meet with you guys actually every 6 months. So employment and training as a whole, we want to address what your goals are. How can we achieve those goals in small, achievable steps, and what are the barriers so we can overcome those with you and help you overcome them by addressing them and figuring out resources and how to move forward from them. So these are steps that each training program is taking to support our participants. And so once someone is fully approved for SNAP, no longer impending. So I actually used to be a benefit worker. So a little bit of the timeline is when you're applying for SNAP, there are verifications that you have to submit. So that is when you're in that pending, you're waiting for your application to be approved. So once you've submitted all the verifications that they need from you to decide whether you are approved or denied, once you are approved, the benefits caseworker will email the client's name and case number to DFS SNAP ET at fairfaxcounty.gov. And then the SNAP ET case managers will then follow up with the client to schedule an initial meeting, either virtually or in person. All right. And again, so once you are applying for SNAP and once you have been approved, you do get a letter in the mail and or via email that has your caseworker on it, their name and their information, such as a phone number. So just in case if you're a little bit unsure of how to get in connection with SNAP ENT, that's one way that you also can do it. So once you're approved, you can also follow up with your case manager that approved your benefits to just follow up and make sure that you're being referred to SNAP ET or getting that further information. Now, our program, which is the Senior Community Service Employment Program, also referred to as CSEP for short. So we are a program, and to qualify for our program, we support those who are 55 and older, who are unemployed, and meet the financial guidelines. So what that is falling under 120% of the federal poverty level, and that actually changes every year. So we have an updated number, but that we can discuss when you guys reach out to us. My colleague, Miss Debbie Fletcher, is the other case manager and the face of the program. So she deals with intake, and her name again is Miss Debbie Fletcher. Her email is down below. You also can reach us at our main email, which is dfscsep. So as you see here, at fairfaxcounty.gov to get enrolled and get other information. So what our process looks like is attending an information session and also filling out a pre-screening form. So that way we can discuss if you are potentially eligible, you learn more about the program, which I'm going to dive into, and then you can fill out the application for our program. But what we have to offer is that we're a temporary community service training opportunity to older Americans to prepare them for jobs. And to go off script here, so what we do is our participants are currently training for up to 15 hours per week. So they receive a bi-weekly stipend. Again, we are a grant-funded program as well. So they are currently doing 30 hours bi-weekly, and they are doing community service training opportunities. So essentially they are doing volunteer opportunities at nonprofits. So this is not a long-term or permanent or employment at all. This is a job training program. So it's a transitioning program to employment. And we do have a duration limit for our program, which is no more than 4 years. So we are wanting to place our participants in a community service training opportunity so that they can build on the skills that they already have or obtain new skills and essentially transition into that job. So before that 4 year mark, wanting them to get into a position that's right for them, whether it's self-employment, part-time, full-time. Again, everybody's goals and what they want is a little bit different. So that's why we do, again, that individual employment plan. So initially, when you guys start, we see what skills, what type of position that you want, first of all, and what type of skills are needed for that position, and what skills have you already accomplished, and what other skills or training is needed to obtain that job. Okay, and so our participants are, it says here, train an average of 20 hours a week, but again, currently in the last year and a half, and I don't see it changing. There hasn't been any talks of it changing, but it's 15 hours a week and are paid that training stipend at the local minimum wage. So that's $12 an hour as of 2023. So again, they're doing 15 hours per week, 30 hours bi-weekly times that $12 an hour. So they're receiving a stipend of max $720 per month. And again, they are placed at a variety of community service training assignments at either nonprofits and public facilities. And some examples are some senior centers, government offices. So at the centers, you'll be helping other clients who come into the centers, helping them with either computers, assisting with printing, administrative work at these senior centers, assisting with other tasks at these senior centers, domestic violence line, shelters. So a lot of these, again, are nonprofit and public facilities to where you're doing administrative, and sometimes a little bit more specific. We have a nonprofit that we work with, Computer Core. So we have participants there that are doing computer related things. And as far as their training goes, as well as besides doing the hours, again, we are a training program, so we want to build on skills. So we also offer trainings and programs and workshops. So we work with Computer Core, as I mentioned. They are a nonprofit organization, and you guys can also look into them yourselves because they offer free virtual computer classes. So you don't have to be a participant of CSEP actually, but that is something that you do have access to as a participant of ours, because they do come in person and do workshops at least about once a month. If not, they try to do more than that, but they do offer, again, separately ongoing, actually English as well, but mainly the computer courses that are free and virtual. So again, transportation I know is an issue for a lot of people, so it's virtual. And something awesome that they were doing furthermore is last year, I know that participants who are enrolled in their courses, as they were enrolled and or finished their courses, they had refurbished laptops that they were giving away for free if you were a participant of theirs. So that's another great thing, because again, that transportation, access to internet or a laptop, having those things are really important and barriers that people face. So those are some things that are supportive services that we offer, or putting you in connection to those resources. And so us, the Northern Virginia chapter, we actually cover many, many counties and cities, which are listed, which is Alexandria, Arlington, Clark, Fairfax, Falls Church, Fauquier, Loudoun, Manassas Park, Page, Prince William County, Rappahannock, and Warren County. So we are not only tailored to Fairfax County, we also have participants in the Woodbridge, Manassas area as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about us. Again, you can reach out to Miss Debbie Fletcher or our main email, and or come in person. We are mainly located in Annandale, but I do highly suggest just sending us an email so you can set up that time to meet with us and give you the further information to discuss about who we are, what we do, and what we can offer. And for more information for any of these, you can visit our county website at www.fairfaxcounty.gov/family services/employment and training as listed here. So that was a very short presentation, but I know it was a lot of information. I will now open up the floor to any questions. I see there are 35 messages in the chat. So.
You're right. That was an excellent presentation. You do that very well. Thank you. I do have some questions, so let me go to my Word file because I was copying and pasting them. First one is, do you have to live in Virginia to access your services?
Yes, thank you. So that is the main thing of our services. So all of those other employment and training programs, they are actually more specific to Fairfax, I would say. Please do not quote me, but those are specific to Fairfax. Now, CSEP, we cover Northern Virginia. So as I mentioned, we cover many cities and counties. So not just Fairfax County, but you do have to be a resident of Virginia. And now for CSEP, I can state that it is a nationwide program. So it's actually authorized by the Department of Labor, and our grantee is NCOA, which stands for National Council on Aging. So I should have mentioned that. So we are a nationwide program. So even if you move, let's say you're in our program, and after a few months or a year, you're moving to Florida. Well, they have chapters there as well that we can transfer you to, whether it's North Carolina, California. So there are many states, or if you're coming from another state as well. But something that I do want to emphasize, because I did state that we do have a duration limit. So even if you, let's say, did a year here in Virginia, when transferring to another state or coming into Virginia, you would only finish off your duration limit. So out of the 4 years, if you've done one already, when transferring, you still only have those 3 years. Your time doesn't restart. And something that I want to also mention and emphasize, again, we're a work training program. So our goal is to get you guys in a job. And as I mentioned, we do follow up with you guys for up to a year to make sure, checking in to see how it's going, and seeing if there's any barriers that we can address if some, situations are arising, because we do want that retention in job, right? But we do understand that things happen. So let's say a year later down the road, after you've been exited from the program because you found employment, say something happens and unfortunately you don't have a job anymore. Well, you are able to come back to the program, reapply, and finish off your duration limit at that time. But let's say a participant who stays the full duration limit of 4 years in the program, again, that time unfortunately doesn't restart. So if you maximize your full time in the program, then you don't kind of have something to rely on. So that's why we highly encourage our participants to utilize the time and look into different opportunities and kind of get out there and try something. And if it doesn't work, you guys are, always have us to kind of rely back on in a way to transition into that next, so we can help you guys. So just wanted to point that out as well as far as the duration limit.
That's good to know. And Zahra, I just want everybody to know I'm going to send Zahra's presentation to everybody tomorrow night. So you'll receive this. So don't freak out about, oh, I didn't get that email address. You're going to get it tomorrow. And additionally, I've been putting in WorkSource Montgomery and Skill Up Montgomery and JCA CSEP program for Montgomery County, so that if there are any Montgomery County residents online here today, you have that information as well. And I'll put that into the file that I sent to everybody. And that's great about the nationality of certain programs, that it's nationwide. So that's good to know. Okay, the next question is, do you work with non-US citizens?
So we, as far as the CSEP program, as long as if you are an LPR, if you have work authorization, is a qualifying factor. So pretty much for all of the employment and training programs, to my knowledge, is you have to at least have work authorization in order to be a participant of the programs.
Okay. And do you have any programs for 50 plus versus 55 plus?
Unfortunately, so the WIOA that is one program. Now, CSEP is specifically for 55 and older, but again, having access to the Virginia Career Works, so utilizing going into those centers, getting that job coaching assistance in person, using the printer scanners, as well as the WIOA program. So if there's specified trainings or certifications, they are definitely a resource you can use because they have the adult program. So that is for anyone who is an adult, age 21 or 18 and plus, I'm sorry. Um, and so that's one program that you can definitely look into, as well as, again, if you're coming into these centers, they definitely will point you into other resources that may be beneficial. And I did see somebody ask about the computer classes, so I'll make sure to put that information in the chat as well. Sorry.
That's No, that's perfect. And that segues into, I think the question you're looking at is most 55 plus individuals experience some form of age bias when applying for jobs in public or private sector. What kind of training do you provide to prospective job seekers who are age 55 plus to overcome that, example, developing one's resumes or interview process?
Yeah, so we that is definitely a major thing that we face and what we want to address. So a lot of our participants, they do feel that again, it was presented that Fairfax County, of course, we do not discriminate. We do not look at age. You can be however old that you are, right? But we do unfortunately understand that maybe some people are facing that age bias when they're going to apply to jobs. And, um, unfortunately, that's their loss. I can't speak for those employers because, we highly encourage our participants, and we're having participants who are coming out of the program with employment. Just yesterday, I talked to a participant who was placed at a host site and she's been doing amazing there. And I actually was contacting her to get a success story for her because it's been going great at the host site to find out that she has landed a full-time position there. So I just want to, again, as stated by the previous presenter, is that please keep on applying. Please keep on going. I know sometimes it can be very discouraging, but that's why we set in place all these supportive services. So that IEP, that individual employment plan, that's really the time that we really hone in and see what work experience do you have? What are the trainings that we can support you doing? So again, English courses, computer courses, other specialized courses. If you need CPR certification updated, if you need whatever it is that you guys are needing, that's when what we address and what we do to support you guys. And if we aren't unable to, then we put you in connection with. So we actually have some of our participants who are co-enrolled with the WIOA program. So they are able to provide assistance as well when it comes to that specified training. So we definitely try to work hand in hand. If we can't, provide you with specifically those services, we work hand in hand with other programs in employment and training. So with the Virginia Career Work Center, so they're on that more one-to-one also, where they sit down with you, do that job coaching, the interview prep. So that's a really good, I've seen it where they've set up panel interviews for participants to come in to, because, the interviews are really the time to sell yourself. So as mentioned, some employers will have systems who kind of go through the resumes, and you have to really make sure that you have those key notes on your resume, right? Looking at the job description and what you have on your resume. That's really, really important. But then sometimes there will be people who are actually looking at it. But once you're in that door and once you have an interview, that's really your time to shine. So taking those extra steps to really prepare, looking at those questions that are potentially going to be asked, coming up with those answers that, that you will have to give, those are all very important and kind of things that we hone in on and work with our participants on.
That's great. And a separate subject, is View only open to parents? What about single parent parental caregivers? No,
So I'm sorry.
go ahead.
No problem. So I was trying to find that question. You said if it's open to non-parents, basically.
Person asked, is View only open to parents? And what about single parental caregivers?
Caregivers. That is a good question. I don't want to give the incorrect answer.
Uh-huh.
So I do know that if you are a TANF recipient, then you do qualify for those View support. So I would definitely contact them or go into the center to ask, but uh, I'm sorry, I don't think I have a great answer for that one, Anne.
Okay, then what I'll do is look for their URL and I'll include that in the email tomorrow night. And then that person can contact them directly. Um, and are there any links for these programs for those in Alexandria? And I know that CareerWorks has one, and I sent someone the address for that. Is it pretty much every town and city or has a CSEP and a SNAP and those different WEO, those type of programs?
Yeah, so Prince William and Fairfax County, SNAP and Medicaid. So SNAP and Medicaid for Virginia as a whole is going to be the same. So those programs are also offered in Maryland, of course, but state to state, income limits and all of those things are going to differ. But as far as for Virginia, the income limits and the processing time and application methods, they're all the same. Now, for these specific programs, again, CSEP is a nationwide program. So I can attest for CSEP, we cover almost all of Virginia. But again, in other states, we do have this program as well. And for as far as View and Bridges to Success, uh, even if it's not specifically in those words, those terms, a lot of the like Prince William County, there's a lot of resources, which is why I also mentioned that there's a Virginia Career Work Center off of Minnieville in Woodbridge, because it wasn't listed on the Fairfax County presentation that I just showed, but they also, again, offer and tie into how in different cities, they also offer similar resources that you guys can utilize. And what I'm going to send also in the chat was this Sign Up Genius link. So this is for the VCW, the Virginia Career Works virtual and or in-person link to create an appointment. So this is for, again, if you don't have a resume, or if you want to have your resume edited, if you want to do that job one-on-one coaching. They offer, again, job leads, job fair information, the most recent ones coming up in these centers, that panel interviews or interview prep, all those amazing things. Thank you, Anne. Yeah. So they're located off of there and they do the same thing. And they have a lot of programs as well, such as the ones that I mentioned through Fairfax County. So they have assistance with ESL classes, computer classes, training. And I think they also even have programs for vets, so they have a lot of good resources there as well that I wanted to just point out that center is off of in Woodbridge.
Great. And I wanted to let the person know, asked about DC. Yes, there is a CSEP program in DC. And I'm about to put that link in the chat right now for everybody who lives in DC. Okay, the next question
And
is, go ahead.
I'm so sorry, Anne. Something that I just wanted to go back to, I did have something here on the side is for participants in Bridges to Success. I think you said you linked the direct website for that, but who qualifies for Bridges to Success program? I have a note here that all participants must have a dependent child under 18 years old, receive SNAP, TANF, or have a household income under 200% of the federal poverty level, and meet one or more of the following criteria. So interested in finding a job, difficulty keeping a job, frustrated when trying to learn and remember new information, regularly worrying about everyday things, and some other potential factors. But essentially, who qualifies for Bridges to Success is if you have a dependent child under the age of 18, and if you receive SNAP, TANF, or have fall under that income limit.
Okay, that's good to know. Um, the next question, and this will be our last question, is there a time limit for the online classes and who keeps track of the data, and is the data accessible after?
Hey, thank you. So that is a good question as well. So CSEP, so what we have is, so when you guys initially actually start, is you guys will come into one of the office locations. So again, since we cover many cities, we have a few different office locations. Virginia Career Works, we have, participants come into Annandale, Alexandria, Reston. go to Woodbridge location, as few as a different other office locations. So some of our participants, if we don't have readily right away a host site, that's what we refer to the volunteer work experience as a host site. If we don't have one right away, you guys are coming in first in person, at least once a week for 4 hours to one of these centers. You guys are logging in, so there is a binder that you guys sign in and out of. So when you're coming in and when you're leaving, so at least doing 4 hours, right? And every time that we have a workshop, so again, as I mentioned, we do the computer core workshops. We do have a sign-in sheet. That organization takes one, we take one. We don't really share the sign-in sheets with our participants, but definitely when we are having things such as job club, if you guys are completing certain certifications or classes, if you guys want, if we don't already provide one, we can definitely create a certification or some type of proof for you guys to show that you guys did complete that. And something that I want to add on to that is actually that our participants have access to LinkedIn Learning for free. So we also can assign, if need be, we can assign certain classes or courses to take, but you guys are open to take whatever you find deemable to advancing and building those skills. And we actually can have access to seeing what it is that you guys have accomplished. But in addition, when you guys are submitting your timesheets bi-weekly, we are required, or you guys are required to send in proof of those hours. So if you're claiming up to 30 hours, if you're not at a host site, then we do need the proof of what you've been working on, whether it's building, creating your resume, editing your resume, working on these LinkedIn Learning trainings, going to the computer core workshop. Now, if you're at a host site to where you're doing your full hours, that host site supervisor who's in charge of you will sign off on your timesheet. So again, it's a job training program. So we are trying to mimic as much as possible as an actual job. So filling out a timesheet, submitting the timesheet, getting it signed by your supervisor, all those kinds of things. So I hope that answered a little bit more information as well. That was a great question to go further into some information that I didn't touch up on.
No, that was great. Very thorough. What a wonderful presentation. Thank you for being here today and stepping in at the last minute. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course.
And I will be sending your presentation to everybody tomorrow. So everybody, don't worry. You're going to have all the information that you need. And if you could look from 11:40 a.m. forward, there are a couple more questions we didn't get to. If you could just respond directly to that person, that'd be wonderful.
Okay.
And thank you so much, Zahra, for being here today.
Yeah.
And
Thank
what I'm
you.
going to do now is we're going to end the recording for Zahra. And